my friend, so do you wonder who is this Jean-Serge Gagnon? Who am I, right? That's me. Obviously, that's me. But, you know, who am I? I've been thinking about how do you define that, right? Do you talk about your personality? Do you talk about your family? Do you talk about your past, your failures, your income, your successes? I mean, what do you talk about? So we're going to talk about that in a second, but first this. My name is Jean-Serge Gagnon. I help entrepreneurs like you generate residual income from digital course strategies. So who am I? Well, first I guess I can just tell you a little bit about my background. You know, I was born in a place called Sept-Îles in Quebec, Canada. And I lived there only until I was 6. I didn't really grow up there. I grew up in Gatineau area, Ottawa, and I lived in lots of different places, right? I lived in California even for a year. When I was younger, I lived in Halifax and Sydney, Nova Scotia, and later on I also lived in Fredericton, New Brunswick, and now my home is in Charlottetown. My wife and kids are in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, and I work in Montreal. This is Montreal here. I'm in an apartment here downtown Montreal. As you can see, it's a pretty busy place, construction going on, and that's that the bridge Champlain over there. I don't know if you can't really see it, but maybe I can. So the Champlain Bridge over there in Montreal. So this is downtown. It's called Griffintown. So my background is that maybe I can start with when I was a kid. I was always, well, a kid. When I was a teenager, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur, right? Somebody who, you know, was going to be a millionaire, right? I mean, I remember when I was a teenager, I had a friend, and we put together these stock market portfolios, these pretend portfolios, and we followed the stock market, penny stocks and everything, and we pretended to buy at the exact market, and we planned sales in advance and figured out that, you know, when the price went up at X or whatever, we would sell. If it went down to X, we would sell, and we followed that every single day. And, you know, I did that as a hobby for fun. I even put together a contract where I would ask people to invest in this company, in this holding firm, that I would invest for them and all that. And, you know, I actually, on paper, I was making good money. I was making good money, and that's one of the ththings I wanted to do when I started. And then, of course, I got into computers. I started programming. I remember when I was in high school, computers weren't very common, right? In 1982, 1981, 1980, 81, I was in high school, and computers were just starting to be like at the very last, the graduating year. We would have an hour a week of computer classes, right? We would learn things, and I learned before I got there, you know, a year before I got into computers. And when I was in high school the last year, I actually just went to the labs. The teacher didn't even make me do any tests, and they gave me 100% at the end of the year because I helped and I knew what I was doing. So I was really good in computers. I still am, and that's what I do today. Today, in my job, I work in computers. I'm a DevOps, which means that I deal with development processes, environments, and making sure that code is done right and that programmers have the tools they need to do their job, right? And I make sure that the processes of getting the code to the test team and to production and all this stuff is done the right way. So I'm a geek, right? But on the side, I still have this, I want to be, you know, rich. I want to be a millionaire. I want to help people. I want to make others have success, right? So I love to see others achieve things, right? And that's one of the things. I even learned all sorts of stuff about relationships and parenting, and I read books, and I listened to audiobooks and self-help and all these things. And whenever somebody has a problem, I'm not an expert. I didn't go to university or anything, but I love to help people and give them ideas as to from the things I've learned. And I've tried these things in my own relationships and my own, and, you know, I've had problems and I've dealt with them, and you know, sure, you ask anybody around me, they're going to say I've got quirks or whatever, and I'm not perfect. I'm not saying I am, but I do learn all the time, and that's one of the things I do too. So from a family perspective, I've been married twice. I did go through divorce. My first wife and daughters are now old, 24, 25. They have, my oldest one has 4 kids, so I'm a grandfather. I have 4 grandkids, and my 2 younger kids with my current wife, who is amazing. You know, she's doing on her own over there in Prince Edward Island. It's not easy to be doing that. It's awesome. I really appreciate that. She is really there for our family. And our 2 kids are 5 and 7 over there. And yeah, and I would love to go back and get out of this, you know, job that I have to have and be home with them. And you know, that's my goal, right? Is to be back home with my family, right? And so because of that, I've been working online, trying to build a personal brand, well, not trying, I've been building a personal brand. I've built a personal brand over the last 4 years with up to 23,000 followers or likes on Facebook pages. I've lost pages, I've grown my Instagram, I've grown my LinkedIn, I've grown accounts and pages, and you know, did things that, you know, I've invested like almost 20,000 in, you know, cryptocurrency, and I lost it, right? So I did things, I made mistakes, and for me, a mistake is just a learning experience, right? So whatever you do, whenever you make a mistake, don't quit. Just take it as a learning experience, right? Something that you've got to, something that, oh, my camera's flipped, sorry. Let me just